ever stop to think about what would happen if Luffy lost the straw hat? I'm not talking about a simple object carried away by the wind, but the symbol that holds the very essence of his journey. This hat isn't just a stylish accessory. It's a promise, a legacy, a piece of Luffy's soul that ties him to the past and projects him into the future. Now imagine, what if, in the middle of a brutal battle, the hat was torn away, shredded, or even destroyed? How would that affect not only the captain of the Straw Hats, but also the entire crew and even the enemies who accompany him on this journey? When Shanks gave the hat to Luffy, it wasn't just a symbolic gesture. It was a silent, almost sacred pact that the boy would be able to bear the weight of a colossal dream. Shanks knew the sea would swallow weakness, and that only someone with an unbreakable heart could turn a simple piece of straw into a banner of freedom. That's why every time we see Luffy adjust a hat before a fight, it's not just a quirk. It's as if he's reminding himself of who he is, where he came from, and where he needs to go. Now, picture the scene. A storm in the new world. The waves roar like ravenous beasts. Thunder splits the sky. And amid the chaos, Luffy faces a powerful enemy. The blow doesn't just target his body, it goes straight for the hat. The straw flies drenched, carried by the wind, and within seconds, the symbol of the promise disappears into the storm's shadows. The silence that follows is chilling. No one dares move, because everyone knows that hat isn't just his. It's the force that holds the crew together. Zoro, stern as ever, would be the first to react, not because he cares so much about the hat, but because he understands what it means to Luffy. Sanji would probably crack a joke, trying to mask the tension, but his eyes wouldn't hide the worry. Nami would feel her heart sink, remembering when she found in Luffy not only a captain, but a pillar she could trust. And in that instant, each of them would have to decide, keep fighting or race against the storm to retrieve the symbol that carries all their dreams. But what about Luffy? How would he react? He's always been impulsive, driven by the heart, not by logic. Losing the hat would feel like an open wound in his soul. He'd scream, clench his fists, and maybe, for the first time, feel the weight of failing to protect what matters most. Because deep down, losing the hat would be like breaking the promise he made to Shanks. And if there's one thing Luffy could never endure, it would be betraying the faith someone placed in him. Yet that's where the beauty of this story lies. Because the hat may be ripped, destroyed, or lost, but what it represents can never be erased. The promise isn't sewn into the straw, but into Luffy's heart. Maybe that moment of loss would be necessary to show that he has already become the man Shanks believed he would be. That even without the hat, Luffy is, and always will be, the future pirate king. And here is the curious part. The hat is also a link to the very past of the One Piece world. Goldie Roger once wore it, Shanks too, and now Luffy carries this heritage. If he lost it would be a metaphor for breaking a cycle, a definitive passage into a new era. Maybe destiny lies precisely in not depending on a physical symbol to affirm who he is. Luffy has already become greater than the hat. He is the living embodiment of freedom. But of course, amid this intense reflection, let me tell you something. Do you know what never gets lost in a storm? The Nest Hub Max 2nd Gen, the perfect visual assistant for your home. Just imagine, while you'll follow every detail of Luffy's adventures, the Nest Hub Max shows you reminders, organizes your routine, connects to your smart devices, and keeps you in control of everything with voice commands. It's like having a reliable first mate on deck, ready to help anytime. A true ally that makes sure you lose nothing. Not your time, not your focus. Back to Luffy, losing the hat would also be a chance for growth. He'd have to prove to himself and to the world that he doesn't need an object to carry his identity. His friends, his deeds, and his determination are the true symbols of his journey. And that's exactly what would inspire the crew even more. They wouldn't follow Luffy because of a hat, they'd follow because of who he is. A tireless dreamer who turns impossibilities into reality. Now think with me, how many times in life do we cling to an object, a symbol, believing that without it we'd lose part of who we are? It could be an old photo, a letter, a gift, and suddenly, when we lose it, we discover the real value was in the memory, the feeling, and the experience. Luffy's hat is that on an epic scale. It's a reminder for all of us that symbols can be important, but it's the heart that breathes life into them. And if, in the end, Luffy really lost the hat forever, maybe it would be destiny saying, you don't need it anymore. The dream is already part of you. The era of the hat may end, but the legend of the man who dared to dream of freedom will never be forgotten. But here is the question. When a promise made in the past no longer needs a symbol to exist, is it still the same promise? Or has it transformed into something even greater?